Okay, video time. This is from 1.4p. Polynomials is the topic, and I want to focus on your calculator for this video. Bye-bye, Beatles. That was quite a harmonica. So here is our polynomial. We're supposed to find all this stuff and sketch a graph. We have a restricted domain. So on your calculator, I want to kind of talk about ZoomFit and then how to calculate zeros, minimums, maximums, and even get into the trace feature if time permits. Let's see, that's not what I wanted. Perfect. All right, I got my TI-83. I'm flying the 83 today. My 84 is dead, but the 83 actually comes up nicer on the screen here. So here is my function typed in. I'm going to click graph, and I am in the standard viewing window, -10 to +10 in both directions. So we were given a restricted domain. This was problem 4E on 1.4p, and the restricted domain was to go from -2 to +2. So I'm going to go to the window, and I'm going to force the change on my x min and my x max. I'm going to make a -2 for my x min, +2 for my x max. I'm going to keep my x scale at 1, and we'll take a look now at the new domain. This is a pretty good graph. I like this graph. The window's pretty good, but I want to remind you there's something called ZoomFit. So I'm going to click on Zoom, and ZoomFit is all the way down at number 10. I don't have anything past my 10, so rather than scroll down, pro tip, I'm going to scroll up, and it'll take me to the very bottom. Some people have like letters that come after the ZoomFit with all sorts of bells and whistles, but here's ZoomFit. You hit enter on ZoomFit, you'll get the little lines over here telling you that the calculator is busy, it's working, and then it's going to adjust your window. So there it is, working. You'll see a new window, but the domain stays the same from -2 to +2. It just made a little adjustment on the y min and the y max. Now, sometimes ZoomFit is good, sometimes it really sucks. I oftentimes will go to the window and recalibrate, like this minimum right here. I don't like how close to the bottom it is, so I want a little more breathing room there. So I'm going to go to my window, and I am going to make a manual adjustment on my y min, and I'm going to make that, I don't know, maybe negative 16 actually, since my y max is 16, just to, oh darn, I hit the wrong one. So change that back to -2, go to my y min, I'm going to make it -16. Totally arbitrary, but now I've got a little bit of space under there. All right, so that's the idea of ZoomFit. Let's talk about how you can find the zeros on this function. Sometimes the zeros are easy peasy. These two you can see, -2 looks like it's a 0, 0 looks like it's a 0. The table is a nice feature where you can sort of get some nice easy integer points, and here you can verify -2 and 0 are definitely zeros of this function. There is a third zero that is mysteriously between 1 and 2, perhaps it's 1.5, in calculate right above trace. I want to teach you how to use the zero finder as well as the minimum and the maximum. So I'm going to go ahead and select 2 for 0. And for zeros, minimums, and maximums, the routine is the same. It's asking for a left bound. See your cursor? Move it to the left of the zero that you want to calculate. I want to calculate this 0 right here. Currently my cursor is to the left, but it's already on a 0, which would be bad. So I'm going to move it, and don't think bottom, top, don't think low, high. Think left, right. If you have a TI-89, unfortunately, they call this a lower bound. It should be a left bound. So I'm going to move this cursor to the right, and anywhere to the left of the 0 here that appears to be at 1.5, and ignore the verticalness, just looking to the left of that. This is an arbitrary decision. I'm going to hit enter, and I've just established my left bound. You see the little arrow pointing in this direction. It's now asking for a right bound, so I want to put my cursor to the right of that x-intercept. And again, it's arbitrary. You want to be kind of close to it just for common sense. Here's an arbitrary enter on my right bound. You can see I now have told my calculator, please find a 0 in this interval here. Clearly that 0 is in that interval. Now the guess is a strange piece. I'm not really sure why they have this. It's unnecessary. You can move your cursor and make a guess as to what it is, but as long as your cursor is inside this established interval, you should be fine. So what I always do is after I establish my right bound, when it says guess, I just hit enter again. And it does a little thinking, and boom, it tells me my 0. And we were right, 1.5. Yay us. Okay, to calculate the minimum and the maximum, the routine is the same. Let me quickly